Welcome back to Friar Talk, everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about Doug Eddings. You guys were asking in the comments about that. So it's a little bit late. What is it, like 4 days delayed? But we're going to talk about Doug Eddings, and we're also going to talk about the Robo Umps as well. I don't think we've ever discussed them on this channel, but you'll get to hear me and Chase's opinion and also JC's opinion. He is going to be guessing today. JC, you want to start? We'll start with Doug Eddings, but you want to kind of give your opinion, maybe your frustrations, and then just give an introduction to who you are.
So I'm JC. I'm from San Diego, and I study in Mexico right now. I've been a lifelong Padres fan, and I'm just excited to be here. And talking about Doug Eddings, I don't I don't like him because like he just absolutely hates us. It just really pisses me off whenever he pitches, like whenever he's like umping games. And we saw that from the Marlins series where he got into like every Padre fan's head. Like he got into everyone's head. And then this series, he ejected Tingler. He ejected Manny Machado. And who was it? It was...
He ejected Jerkson Profar for holding up a trash can in the dugout.
Oh, yeah. And then it was also, I think, another coach I think it was Ryan Flaherty. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Oh, he also got ejected. I didn't know that he got ejected. Yeah, no, it has been so brutal whenever he's been the manager. And if you guys have ever checked the umpire scorecards that they get tweeted out, it was bad. I think was it Saturday? Was that the game? No, it was Friday, right? The game that he umped at home plate?
Yeah, it was a game we lost. It was Friday. Yeah.
Okay.
Which one? I have both of them up right now. There's a Saturday game against Miami, and then the Phillies game was on Friday.
Okay. Yeah, in the Phillies game, the run differential like that they grade out was like I think it was 1.2 something. In the Phillies' advantage.
They had San Diego at minus 1.44 runs, and they had Philly minus 0.23 runs. And it ended up being 1.2 runs in the Phillies' favor. He was below average by a couple percentage points in overall accuracy and overall consistency, but they were really biased against the Padres, the calls that were missed.
Yeah, and it's been frustrating. I'll say this: I don't think that there's necessarily like he has. I'm not saying it's not the case, but I don't think it's like a given that he has something out for the Padres. I also think that his strike zone in general is just terrible. Like he is just really inaccurate. But this kind of leads to the discussion of should umpires even still exist? Like maybe you keep them in there, but should balls and strikes be completely up to the umpire's judgment? And I've never talked about this on the channel. I know a lot of people have different opinions on this. I am fully on board with bringing in a robo ump because it's one of those things where it just makes the game better. It just makes the game more accurate. So that's where I'm at with it. But how do you guys feel about that? And Chase, go ahead. You can start, man.
Look, I'm all for robo umps, but I feel like umpires at the same time have done a pretty good job with the game, except for when you get to like the Doug Eddings, the Angel Hernandez's, sometimes Joe West. Sometimes he's really good, other times he's really bad. Like when you have Eddings going out there and having an 88% overall accuracy, he shouldn't be a major league umpire because we've seen one game had like he missed one call, and even that one call was very borderline. An umpire did that. Pat Hornberger there in the playoffs had an amazing run where he missed maybe 2 calls. When you have umpires like that, you don't really need the electronic strike zone. You can probably just keep the human element in there. But when you start getting below 90% into like between 85 and 88%, it's clearly going to one team, and the other team is being way more effective than the other team on it. And it's just kind of creative and creating just an imbalance towards one team, and it kind of just seems like the umpire's throwing for one team and the other team's being more affected, losing either players, managers, multiple players in the Padres instance, Manny Machado, Profar with the trash can. I mean, Yeah, and then if you get the electronic strike zone, you probably don't get players arguing balls and strikes. We've seen it before in the minor leagues, which is really funny because there's pros and cons to it. The pros are is like, yeah, you get an 100% accurate strike zone, but at the same time, because of that, from a hitter's perspective, when you see the catcher have to move around the entire way and catch it nearly in the dirt, and you see the umpire call it for a strike, it could be pretty upsetting, even though it probably is a strike because of the electronic strike zone. But, there still might be some inaccuracies there.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think I do like the idea of having electronical umpires because like we want like the right calls, like we want everything to be like perfect. But like one thing that would really like bring it down would be like the catcher's importance, like them framing pitches, like it would like destroy the art of like framing pitches. Like basically Austin Hedges would be terrible at baseball. He shouldn't even be in the league for that. But yeah, I think um, just picture like I feel like they should try it out like for next year because it would be like a different like something different for us to see, and it's just why not try it out? Why not try it out?
Yeah, well, that's what they did with in the 2019 season, and it seemed or 2020 season. I'm sorry, and it seemed like a lot of the stuff people enjoyed. The DH and the NL, another thing that I'm very big on moving towards. That's strictly biased though, because I think it affects the Padres more than like any other team. But I do think that maybe if they tried it out, like they could always just say we're going to do this for one season. I mean, that's what they did in 2020. It was kind of weird that they didn't try the Robo Ump. I kind of would have thought that would have been a good opportunity to try that, which I guess that means that they're not really thinking about it. And then to kind of go back to what you guys are saying about, the catcher position, and then Chase, you're talking about, just like the frustration from a hitter standpoint. I feel like it's one of those things where if it's consistent, that's the biggest thing, because it's not like they wouldn't practice with the Robo Ump. So if there's like pitches where the catcher is moving around, like you're saying, they're already going to know that that's going to happen occasionally. You know what I mean? Like they're going to have to make that adjustment. And maybe for instance, it lowers the strike zone, but it's more, I think, of just having that consistency on a day-to-day basis that would improve it. As far as the catcher position goes, I still think like you said, like the art of framing would pretty much be completely destroyed. However, you're still calling a game as a catcher. You still have to manage the runners. You're still like that leader in like defensively, but I think it does diminish it to a certain point. So I think that's a good thing to bring up. But Chase, anything else you kind of have on this whole Doug Eddings and the Robo Ump situation?
Yeah, one, Doug Eddings is horrible. We all know that. If we do make playoffs and Doug Eddings just happens to be the wild card umpire and the game is anywhere in California, there might be riots. The other thing is they are implementing the Robo Ump in the minor leagues right now, but I don't know how that is going. I've seen like a couple clips where a couple of guys have gotten thrown out because they're arguing balls and strike with the umpire. I mean, it looks like a really bad call. You don't get the box, so you're just kind of like, is it really that bad? It looks like it's off the plate, but it could have caught the corner when it crosses the plane. There's been some really, really close ones where you're just like, I don't know. They probably would have called that a ball, and he probably goes to first base, and that's kind of where some people get iffy. Having a perfect strike zone sometimes bites you in the ass when it has, when you come to breaking pitches, because it's right where it crosses the plate, not where the catcher catches it, and sometimes that changes the umpire's mind.
JC, anything else you want to add before we take off?
Yeah, if we get Doug Eddings for a playoff game, the MLB gods hate us. Like if it does happen, I'm not watching the game. Like it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
That would be a bold move by the Umpire Association to throw Doug Eddings into a Padres game after all that happened. That would be something. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's episode. We're going to have JC on tomorrow too. We're going to be talking about Tommy Pham or Will Myers in left field. So if you guys want to come check that out, that will be out probably earlier than this episode today. We just couldn't record till later. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you everyone for listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.